Hello, everyone. So don't mind the smoke. I know it's a horrible habit, and it's going to be broken soon, but for right now, I'm not going to prevent myself from doing videos just because I'm not a perfect person, because I did that for way too long. So, this video is about rising signs. I'm just going to keep it a short video, so please let me know if you'd like more detail in the comments, or send me an email for a message. And don't mind the noise going on. We're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde, so I'm having difficulty finding my normal quiet places to do my videos. So I'm sure that the information will still come through. Okay, so rising signs. Now remember, this is my personal experience and education in it. Don't stop at this video. Learn more about it. It's really of value to hear as many opinions on it as you can. So the rising sign, which is also known as the ascendant sign, and I like calling it a rising sign because it reminds me of what it is. So when you get a birth chart done, what you need is your birth date, like the day, the date, the year, and the time. And the time indicates your rising sign. It's like, where were you geographically? And at that point in time that you were born, when there was a snapshot of the sky taken, which becomes your birth chart, where was the sun along the horizon of the earth? You know, like, was it directly below you at midnight? Was it directly above you at noon? Like, you know, things like that. And like that, the rising sign is usually it's your core personality, it's your ego, and it's what you show. Like, I usually tell people, like, think about how you act when you are talking to a waitress or a waiter, or when you're dealing with a banker or a real estate agent or something like that. Like, that is your ascendant sign. That's your rising sign. It's your everyday personality. And I'm going to do like a short example on each one, or at least try to, in 10 minutes. So let's start with Aries. So an Aries rising sign, generally you're going to see somebody who is very playful. They tend to like taking risks when I'm going to say they take risks either way, but they get really good at taking calculated risks when they hit their evolution. When they're not evolved yet, they tend to make a lot of very unfortunate risks that get them into trouble because of impulsivity and reactivity. But in general, they're usually fun to be around because they're a fire sign. They tend to, like, people tend to like to be around them, and they do tend to have some challenges with anger, but more so because it is a protective response from whatever, like, their moon sign is. And you know what, I'm going to kind of leave it there. I mean, they're charming, they're impulsive, they're challengers for sure. You know, they know how to go out and get things. And get things done. Like, they can use that energy to get things done. They tend to be business owners or people who get who get given a lot of responsibility, but they can also be immature in a lot of ways because Aries is the baby of the zodiac. Okay, Taurus rising. In Vedic, I actually have Taurus as a rising. So we're looking at, as a personality, you can be stubborn, bullish, a bit of a bully at times. Very mothering, though. It's definitely Empress energy. It's also Hierophant energy. So there's going to be spirituality involved with it. There's definitely, like, in the unevolved side of things, you're looking at learning when to give and when to stand your ground, because anything in Taurus, you're not going to force anybody with a strong Taurus energy to do anything. But Taurus itself, we have to learn when to give, when to move and say, okay, you can have your way, or this and that, or when to stand our ground and say, no, that's not happening, because that is part of the lesson in that. And as an outer personality, sometimes Taurus risings can come off as intimidating, or as forced to be reckoned with, but usually they are very straightforward. They are who they say they are, and usually we don't try to pretend that we're not stubborn or that we don't have things like that going on. But that can be off-putting to people because a lot of other rising signs do not share that equality, at least not until they hit their evolution point. And even Taurus risings, like we can have our moments where we're not fully honest about who we are, but usually we are pretty much who we say we are. And that can be tested because we're Tauruses and we're very stubborn, at least in terms of rising. I'm actually noticing the time, so I might only get halfway through the signs. We'll see. Gemini rising. Here's the irony. In Western astrology, my rising sign is Gemini. A Gemini rising is going to be very sociable, definitely a socialite sign. They're probably going to have a fair amount to do with the home also. And we're definitely a duality. Like, you're going to see multiple sides because the twins live within our core personality and our ego. And when unevolved, we can be very duplicitous. And the irony is, it's not usually because we want to be. It's because we're afraid of showing people who that core personality is. That's that soft, vulnerable inner side. So we try to project kind of the Taurus side, right? But especially if you're around people that have primarily water signs, like, they're going to see through that, and like, they're not necessarily going to know what we're hiding, but that we are hiding something. And so in evolution, a Gemini rising has to deal with their ego and their fear that their core personality, that it won't be liked. And so once we figure that out, we actually become very much like Taurus rising, in that, like, you are who you say you are, but that's part of the learning lesson, and that's part of the ego healing in that. Let's see, Cancer rising. Cancer risings are, well, I generally say, like, when it comes to a rising sign, when you're guessing what somebody's sun sign is, you're actually usually guessing at their rising sign. Because, like, the sun is the life path, so you'd have to hear from other people about the life of that person to guess their sun sign. So when you're guessing, like, oh, are you an Aquarius? Like, you're guessing their rising sign. So Cancer is likely to be very quiet. A Cancer rising is likely to be very quiet, at least at first. They tend to be kind of like Geminis in that they are very... they've got a duality going on. They can come across as wishy-washy, but really they're trying to learn to figure out what emotions they're actually feeling and what it means for each moment and what other people are feeling. And they can be kind of snappy, especially in their unevolved states. Like, they're so afraid of emotions that they can come across as duplicitous and angry a lot, and they'll ghost people or hide in their shell for longer than necessary. But once they hit their evolved point, actually they could be they could be the best person to go to when you need help unraveling your emotions, because they've spent a lot of time dealing with their egos and really figuring out how to feel what you feel, how to feel worthy of feeling what you feel, and how to use that energy in a mature way. They're also going to be people that are generally very artistic and romantic, and I would put them very much as like Knight of Cups sort of energy. Let's see if we can do one more. Leo. So Leo energy as a rising sign, you're going to see more of what you would expect from readings of a sun sign Leo. Like, they're going to be magnanimous and flamboyant and fun, and especially, well, at least in an unevolved state, they're also going to be very fiery. And if you say, like, they're the people that you say something, if they misinterpret it, or especially if you really meant to hurt them, I mean, they're lying. They're the sun. They will burn you, and they will not have any problem doing that. When they hit their more evolved side, they learn to recognize that, like, a lion doesn't have to roar for other people to recognize they are a predator and that they can hurt them. And so they don't feel the need to be so defensive or so reactive about things. And then they fit more into that, like, King of Wands, Queen of Wands energy. And they start to learn that Wow, okay, that was something to see. Anyways, they start to learn the ability to just allow things to gravitate towards them, and that which isn't meant for them to just burn up in the atmosphere of themselves, because they don't have to push people away. Like, people will, like, if they don't invest that time and attention in people that are draining them, those people just kind of naturally go away, which is something to learn, because as a Leo sun, it's hard not to want to be very generous with everybody and want to protect everybody. I mean, you think of the lion or lionesses, like, they want to protect their families, they want to protect the things that they care about and their territory, and as they learn to move with that energy, they realize that they protect it just fine as it is. They don't have to do more than that. So Leo risings they're the second fire sign, so they're not going to be quite as impulsive or have quite a childish nature to them as, say, Aries rising would, but they'd be more in that, like, teenage young adult energy, which is a little more settled, but still impulsive, still a little more able to be themselves, though. I enjoy Leo risings, definitely. All right, so I'm getting towards the 12-minute mark, which was already over my goal. So let me know, guys, if you want to hear about the rest of the signs. I could definitely do a series about each one individually, if you guys would like. Otherwise, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.